Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is on Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on a Wednesday. Casey Gaines and Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. That's one of those where mid-intro I'm thinking, all right, what day is it? And I went, Wednesday, that is not close enough to Friday for me. This week, dragging just a touch, as you would imagine, with some baseball coming at us on Friday night. But we're going to get there. Eventually we will get there. I guess my job here is to get you 2 hours closer. We can get through 2 hours here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. What If Wednesday coming up at 1:30. Just throwing random what if. Sports, not sports. Taylor will throw some at me. We'll take some from the Bayou Ford chat. Big SEC basketball tonight, Tennessee and Alabama. I want to talk about that in hour number 2. Chris Demui, former Tiger left-hander, will join us, as he will now every Wednesday moving forward during the baseball season. We'll chat with Demui at 2:30. Looking forward to that. And coming up in the next segment, I'm going to have a little fun with this baseball lineup. If you listened or watched me and Musso's season preview, you caught a little bit of this, but I'm going to have some fun with LSU's baseball lineup coming up in the next segment. But we do need to start with LSU and Georgia last night in Stegman. 65-63, the final. Georgia beats LSU. It's a game LSU was in. They were in the game, obviously. Just could not quite get it done at the end. Let's go through it. I've got some thoughts. This is actually more interesting than most of the games LSU has played to talk about. Quite frankly, when you get down 18 in the first half, cut it to 11, and then get beat by 14, what are you going to say? In this instance, there is some to talk about, some good, some very much not good. The start was better for LSU. It can't get much worse than it's been over the last few weeks, but the start was better. And you got exactly what I was hoping for yesterday when I talked about the game. I said, look, Georgia's a terrible shooting basketball team. Hopefully they shoot terribly. And they did. At one point in the middle of the first half, they missed out 11 out of 12 shots. LSU got up 20-12 in the game. And then LSU did not score for the last 4 minutes and 34 seconds of the first half, as LSU is prone to do. I hated the last possession that LSU had in the first half. Why? Well, you had a 4-point lead, and you got a defensive rebound with 34 seconds left on the clock, and instead of bleeding the clock and taking one shot, Juice Hill starts running to nowhere, throws a contested bounce pass to nobody that gets picked off by Georgia, and Georgia ends up hitting a buzzer beater right before the end of the half. So that's just poor clock management on LSU's part, poor decision-making, poor execution, and Georgia turns it into a bucket there right before the half. But at 28-26 at halftime, that's a pretty good spot for LSU, comparatively speaking. Georgia had shot 30%. That's not very good, but pretty much par for the course for them. LSU had assisted on 7 of their 10 makes. Yeah, LSU didn't score the last 4:34, but you had a lead, you had a chance. So what happens coming up in the second half of this game? Well, Georgia opens the half 12 of 18 from the floor. Yesterday, I gave you the statistics. Georgia was way down the list in terms of assist percentage. They were way up the list in terms of free throws created, fouls drawn. They were a driving basketball team, and LSU could not stay in front of them in the second half. So much so that Georgia ended up shooting 12 of 15 from two-point range in the second half. 12 of 15. And most of that's just getting to the rim. LSU continued to turn the basketball over. 11 in the first half, 8 more in the second half. That led to 19 Georgia points. But LSU wouldn't go away. Even though Georgia got up 8 points with 6 minutes and 24 seconds left, I'm looking at it going, yeah, this is it. They're going to let go of the rope here. They don't have the horses. They stayed in it for a while, but here comes Georgia. But like I said, down 8 with 6:24 left. LSU scrapped and clawed and stayed in it. Miller hits a huge three with 3 minutes and 20 seconds left and had another one in the air on the next possession to tie it. That three had cut it to 3. They had a 3 to tie it on the next possession. But you get down to crunch time. You're down 1. You've got the basketball. under 30 seconds to play. And Matt McMahon draws up a really nice play. They get KJ Williams ducking into the paint, hit him with a good pass. He's got a great spot to work from on the floor, and he ends up making the bucket. So you go up 1 with 11 seconds to go. Charlie and I just had this conversation in the hall, so I'm not talking behind his back. You heard him talking about this on his show recently if you were tuned in an hour ago. I did not hate at all LSU's decision, down 1, to take a shot with 11 seconds to go in the game. It's not too early. LSU's offense is not very good. They don't create a bunch of great looks. When your best player by a country mile in terms of scoring the ball gets a look 4 feet from the bucket, down 1 with 10 seconds to go in the game, you shoot it now, you shoot it the next time, you shoot it the next time, you shoot it 100 times in a row. I cannot possibly listen to another thought on that. LSU working the game clock down to 3 seconds in some sort of offensive set is a wing and a prayer. They're not good enough offensively to rely on that. And maybe if you're playing the best offensive team in the country, Gonzaga or something, and you know you can't stop them, you might wait and shoot it with 5 seconds to go in the game. Georgia stinks on offense. They've been terrible all night. They're terrible now. They're not good on offense. So I'm going to take my chances taking a 1-point lead with 11 seconds to go. And they did. So Georgia comes down 1, and Jordan Hill gets the basketball, and Tyrell Ward's guarding him, and he just flat didn't stay in front of him. He just got blown by. He opened his hips, turned perpendicular to the basket, and Hill drove right by him. KJ comes over and provides perfect help. He does everything he can do. He steps in front. He goes straight up vertically, hands held high, 6'10", and Hill makes the bucket over him. High off the glass, really good finish. Probably less than a 50% shot, but an excellent finish by Hill. So now Georgia's got the lead, and you got 4 seconds left. Here was my thought process, standing at Pluckers with 4 seconds to go in the game, looking at the TV screen during a timeout. I said, I can't think of one player on this team that I want to catch this inbounds pass. KJ's not a good ball handler, especially where you're going to have to catch a pass there around half court. Juice Hill's quick and can advance the ball very quickly, but he can't finish at the rim, and he's not a very good shooter. Adam Miller has not shot the ball well tonight. I got Tyrell Ward, who's a freshman, who's not a great ball handler. Jalen Reed has turned the ball over a good bit. There's not anybody. Hannibal is not a threat to shoot the ball from anywhere outside of 4 feet. So there's not anybody I feel great about getting the ball to. That's the way I thought of it entering LSU taking the ball out. So they take the ball out, down 1 with 4 seconds to go, and they're going to run something getting Juice Hill moving towards half court from left to right, which is the best way to go about things to advance the ball as quickly as possible. Juice Hill is a pretty good passer. Figure maybe somebody will help. He can get somebody a look in 4 seconds if he catches the ball near half court. They can't get it into him, so they call another timeout. When they come back for the next timeout, they have another play drawn up, and they run the pass it out of bounds and get the initial passer streaking down the court, moving forward. They're trying to get the ball moving forward in one way or another. And the pass goes from Tyrell Ward to Jalen Reed on basically a fly route. That's not the play for me. I don't have it. That is so low percentage to me. Having 2 freshmen throwing the ball, moving down the floor, that just doesn't seem very high percentage to me. Those 2 players making that play at this juncture, when you got Williams a 5th year, you got Hannibal a 4th year, you got Hill a 4th year, you got Miller a 3rd year. I need one of those guys involved in this, and it didn't work out. You end up having a little bit of a miscommunication. Ball gets thrown to nobody. LSU doesn't foul, and at that point, ball game. I thought the play to KJ Williams to give LSU a 1-point lead was very well executed. I thought The on-ball defense at the end was not good. The help side defense was good, and Georgia made a better play. And I thought the play call at the end of the game left a lot to be desired. That's what I think about those last 3 possessions, which is what the game ultimately boiled down to. But again, LSU in the second half was unable to cut Georgia off on the dribble drive and turn the ball over far, far, far too much. You dominated the backboard, and you did a good job getting to the free throw line and making them 16 of 19 from the line. But just, you didn't make winning plays late, and that's what it's going to take. And this game, to me, for LSU, hurts worse than Alabama or getting beat at home by A&M or blowout losses wherever you want to pick your spot. This one, you really had a chance to get off the schneid, get a win for the first time in a month and a half, and feel better about yourself entering a home game against a really winnable opponent, beatable opponent. And now you take the gut punch of losing by 2 when you had the ball late and you had a lead with under 10 seconds to go in the game. That's going to be tough for them to bounce back from. But they've bounced back all year and given it their best effort. They tried last night. They just didn't have the juice. And you kept Georgia to 65 points. You just didn't have enough offense in the tank with the drought at the end of the first half, and it just is what it is. There's not much more that you can add to it. LSU's just a team searching for something right now, but this one feels like it's going to be tough to bounce back from. Nice job by KJ Williams to go for 18 points and 9 rebounds in the game. Nice job by the team to respond to being down 8 points with 6:24 left, but just not enough winning plays late, and it is what it is. So let's transition. We'll have What If Wednesday coming up in 15 minutes, but when we come back, I'm going to do a little bit of an exercise here with LSU's baseball lineup that is impressive and interesting all at the same time. So come back and let's do that next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls Bands and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting. With a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman.
Rockin' a hard place.
With Timothy Wayne, plus 2-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers, and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
Women who suffer from cardiac arrest outside of a hospital are less likely than men to receive life-saving CPR from bystanders. This is especially true for Black and Latino women. Be the one in your family to help change this statistic by taking the American Heart Association's challenge to learn CPR. Be the beat for someone you love. You can make a difference when it matters most. Go to heart.org today to take the CPR challenge and save lives.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCoRoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share this.
NBA All-Star Weekend. Tune in Friday night at 8 p.m. for the Rising Stars Challenge. Saturday at 7 p.m. for All-Star Saturday Night. And Sunday at 7 p.m. for the All-Star Game. Right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Talk baseball with Chris Demui coming up at 2:30 this afternoon. You can catch that every Wednesday here on the Hunt Palmer Show. Excited to talk some baseball with the former Tiger southpaw. LSU on the diamond for the opener, 6:30 on Friday night against Western Michigan. Jay Johnson going to meet with the media tomorrow at noon. So we'll have all the information from that meeting with the media for our show tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We won't have any sound or anything like that, but I will have some information. I expect he will name a starting rotation. I think it's possible he may give us a lineup. And that's another thing. Paul Maneri would give us the lineup on the Thursday before the opener. We'll see if that's something that Jay Johnson decides to do tomorrow. We'll certainly find out. But I want to go through this exercise with this baseball lineup because I think it's fascinating. If you saw me and Muso's season preview on our YouTube channel, you will have already seen this. If you didn't, I invite you to go check out that video that we shot last week on Thursday. We launched it on Monday. It's myself and Matt Musso for an hour going through this entire roster, pitching, offense, defense, the whole lot. So it's on our Bayou Forward Watch ESPN YouTube stream. You can catch it there. It's also pinned to the top of my Twitter profile if that's easier for you to find. But I did it on that video. I'm going to do it again here because I think it's interesting. I don't know how likely either of these two lineups is over the course of a 56-game season or on a given day. That's not the point that's the lineup that Jay Johnson will put out there. The point is it's the amount of options and the versatility this lineup could create because of the depth of talent that LSU has. So let's pretend that there is just a dominant right-handed arm that you are going to see on a given day, whether it's Dolander, Beam, or Burns from Tennessee, some stud right-hander, and they've got a slider or breaking ball that right-handed hitters just have no chance on. Okay, well, here's an option that Jay Johnson would have with his lineup. You could catch Brady Neal. He hits left-handed. Play Trey Morgan at first. He hits left-handed. Ben DePolt can play second base. He is left-handed. Jordan Thompson's your shortstop. He's not going anywhere. He hits right-handed, but he's there. Tommy White's your third baseman. He was the National Freshman of the Year last year. He's not going anywhere either, even though he hits right-handed. Go to the outfield. Josh Pearson can play left field. He is a left-handed hitter. I'm not going to take Dylan Cruz out of the lineup at center field. He's right-handed. We'll deal with it. Josh Stevenson could play right field. He hits left-handed. And Braden Jobert can DH. He is left-handed. So that lineup against a dominant right-handed pitcher, if I wanted to, I could put 6 left-handed hitters, Brady Neal, Trey Morgan, Ben DePault, Josh Pearson, Josh Stevenson, and Braden Jobert, along with my stalwarts in Cruz and White and Thompson. That's pretty impressive to put that out there. It becomes more impressive when you can realize that I can flip it around and do even better than that right-handed. Say I've got just a devastating left-handed pitcher. I don't want lefties out there against them. They got no chance. Hunter Elliott from Ole Miss, pick your poison with left-handed pitchers. Alex Milazzo can catch. He's right-handed. Trey Morgan is my first baseman. I could certainly throw a right-hander out there at first base. I'm not going to do that. Trey Morgan is an All-American type player. I'm going to put him at first base. But Jack Merrifield can play second. He's right-handed. Jordan Thompson, my shortstop, is right-handed. Tommy White, my third baseman, is right-handed. Gavin Dugas can play left field. He's right-handed. Dylan Cruz in center. He's right-handed. Paxton Kling can play right field. He is right-handed. Jared Jones coming on, making a push as a DH. He's right-handed. Now, sure, I could put Jones at first base for Morgan and DH. There's plenty of right-handed hitters. You get the point. I'm not taking Trey Morgan out of the lineup. But that lineup features 8 right-handed hitters and Trey Morgan, and none of them are just like some automatic out that I had to throw in there. Alex Milazzo is a catcher who hasn't been very good on offense, but the rest of the guys, Merrifield, Thompson, White, Dugas, Cruz, Kling, Jones, those guys they have some chops hitting from the right side of the plate. Last year, the feeling was that LSU was a little bit right-handed, especially before Josh Pearson came on. You had Morgan to hit from the left side, and Barry was a switch hitter who certainly hit from the left side, and Jobert was good in spurts from the left side. So it wasn't like you were entirely right-handed, but there was a time where I think the feeling was they were a little bit too right-handed. They're not either on this side. And I think likely, in that scenario, Cruz, Thompson, White, and Morgan were the only guys that locked in. While I think it's a long shot that 9 guys locked themselves into a spot, I think it is very likely that potentially 1 or 2 guys from that list becomes an everyday player, whether it's Kling, whether it's Jones, whether it's Pearson. I think I would have said Pearson was a slam dunk as of July because he had such a nice freshman year. Now, as I look at it, I think, man, if I could put Dugas, Kling, and Jones in there, and it was a tough lefty, and Pearson was kind of scuffling the way that he has been in the fall and early spring, like maybe that is a reality. Maybe Josh Pearson just shakes it off, the lights come on, he hits 320 with 11 home runs, and off we go. He's in there even if there's a tough lefty on the mound. But the point of the exercise is to go, man, there is so much versatility in this lineup that, one, if I wanted to do this exercise and actually just load the lineup with 6 lefties, Cruz, White, and Thompson against a really tough righty, or wanted to go 8 righties and 1 lefty against a really tough lefty, I could. Probably more importantly is maybe we've got to go to the bench late in the game against a reliever that's got A-plus breaking stuff, and I've got these guys at my disposal. Jobert's my DH. I got to pinch hit Jones. I've got Merrifield playing second base. Here comes a tough right-hander. I throw DePault in there. We've got Paxton Kling coming up to the plate. He's struggling a little bit. Tough right-hander on the mound. Let's give Pearson a swing. Like, that's probably the more important element to this. When you can put this many names out there that make a lot of sense. I mean, I think of the names I listed, outside of Milazzo, who plays a premium catcher, premium position. When you talk about Neal, Morgan, DePault, Merrifield, Thompson, White, Pearson, Dugas, Cruz, Kling, Stevenson, Jobert, and Jones, I think the weakest bat in that group is Josh Stevenson. And he's a pretty good player. So it's not like I'm just grabbing someone off the bench because they swing left-handed. It's that I have left-handed players, like actual starting caliber players. It's that I have bench bats that are not on the bench because they can't play. They're on the bench because I've got so much depth. We can talk about the star power on this team all we want, and it's astronomical. Cruz, White, Morgan. That's star power offensively. But the depth is just as impressive, and that's a huge, huge deal. Last year, your catchers kept getting dinged up. Trey Morgan's got a big knee brace on. Barry breaks his finger in Tuscaloosa taking ground balls. Like, things happen over the course of a season where guys get beat up. And you don't want to just toss in a lesser guy because that's all you got. You want to have as much depth as possible. And it's tough in a sport that only allows you 11.7 scholarships to build depth on a team. But this team has got it. So in this vein, and we'll talk about this more tomorrow when I assume that Jay will give us a little bit more information when he's talking with the media, but it's very reassuring, comforting, and exciting to think about the possibilities they've got with this lineup. I haven't even brought up Cade Beloso in this exercise, who can certainly give you an at-bat left-handed off the bench if you want one. I haven't brought up Gavin Guidry in this scenario, who is a Louisiana Player of the Year. I mean, there are some other guys on this team that may be able to crack the lineup. I'm just tossing two different lineups out there. It's a team loaded for bear. I think y'all are pretty well aware of that at this point. So very, very excited to keep diving deeper into this team over the next 2 days before they finally take the field on Saturday at 6:30. Tomorrow, I'm going to give you my outlook for the entire season, give you a record prediction, an SEC record prediction, and a prediction for the entirety of the season. I guess we'll get to that in the Citizens Bank Poll question tomorrow, talking about that. We'll come up with something else for today. But we're there. If you talk about basketball in this town kind of being at times a gap bridger, not that this was great, but the baseball team plays again before the basketball team plays again. So I guess the gap's officially bridged. We're there. Just got to sleep a couple more times and head on out to the box on Friday night. I cannot wait to get out there for a 6:30 first pitch. Going to be chilly, no doubt. I'm going to pack some gloves, maybe some Under Armour. We're going to get out there. We're going to enjoy some baseball. Hope to see a ton of you out there on Friday night, which I'm assuming we certainly will. We'll come back and we'll do some What If Wednesday. Chris Demui coming up in the second hour. You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Ram 1500s. 2022 Ram 1500 trucks on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Moon Griffon is back. The voice of Louisiana politics makes his return to Baton Rouge. Catch the Moon Griffon Show weekdays from 9 to 11 a.m. on Talk 107.3.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls Bands and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting. With a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne. Plus two-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers. And Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th. Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. The #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
Women who suffer from cardiac arrest outside of a hospital are less likely than men to receive life-saving CPR from bystanders. This is especially true for Black and Latino women. Be the one in your family to help change this statistic by taking the American Heart Association's challenge to learn CPR. Be the beat for someone you love. You can make a difference when it matters most. Go to heart.org today to take the CPR challenge and save lives.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
On Thursdays, OTB. We'll talk to LSU assistant coach Bob Starkey as we want you to pack out the PMAC for a great cause. Plus, Jay Clark stops by to preview a huge gymnastics matchup. Off the bench, 104.5 ESPN.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Made a decision yesterday on Neyland Stadium beer sales. Tell you what the resolution of that was coming up in the next segment. Big, speaking of Neyland, Tennessee, big SEC basketball tilt tonight between Alabama and Tennessee. I'll preview that one coming up at 2 o'clock. Chris Demui with us at 2:30, talking some baseball. Excited to chat with him. Take it or leave it, we'll always finish us up. But it's Wednesday. It's 1:30. That means it's time for a little What If Wednesday. What you got, Taylor?
Time. Space. Reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question. What if?
Man, I got to tell you, that intro fires me up. I wish this was
like
know
what that's from? Is that like a famous movie thing?
I don't know what it's from either. I don't care what it's from. It's awesome. All right, since you are a baseball fan, you're a huge baseball guy, so we're going to start with a little baseball. What if George Steinbrenner would have purchased his hometown team, the Cleveland Indians?
That's interesting. There's a lot of dynamics there. Now, George deserves a ton of credit for his commitment to winning. You've heard me on this show all the time. My inclination is when you buy a professional sports team, you in turn now have to turn, in my opinion, your fiscal responsibilities totally off and commit everything to winning. You now work for the fan base, in my opinion. Any decision you make for your financial gain that does not benefit the team and immediately lead to wins, I think is malpractice. And I say that because you're able to flip the team and sell it for $3 billion and get on down the road and don't worry about money anymore. I realize that's how these guys got to the point that they got because they're great with money. But George deserves a ton of credit for spending ridiculous amounts of money in a salary capless sport in relentless pursuit of championships, which worked. They won a ton of championships. I don't know if he could have generated the revenue stream and replicated the spending sprees that he did in the Bronx in Cleveland. I don't know if that necessarily matches up. I think his attitude would have been similar where he would have tried, but it's just a lot easier to recruit the elite talents in all of baseball, the Alex Rodriguez, the Roger Clemens, the massive free agents that he got to the Bronx. To get him to Cleveland might be a little bit of a stretch. So certainly I think it would have compromised the Yankees. They're still the Yankees. They're still the most powerful brand in all of baseball, but without the spending ability and commitment to doing it, I don't think that works as well. So my gut tells me there would have been more success on the Indian side and less for the Yankees, but I don't think he could have replicated what he did in New York in the mistake by the lake, as they call it.
What if the Portland Trail Blazers drafted Michael Jordan instead of Sam Bowie?
Oh, man. The Blazers had no playoff success under Bowie. In the Bowie era, I understand it was very short. He got hurt the first year, then he broke his leg the second year, and he just never could stay on the floor. He was a great college player, obviously. There's a reason they take him number one. And as was the case with the Greg Oden, Kevin Durant thing, I think the NBA more often in that time decided they were going to go with the size over the guard or the score, and obviously it was the wrong decision. Now, I think if you want to just immediately jump to the front and say, hey, if Portland drafts Jordan, they're going to win 6 championships. I don't think it works that way. I got a great perspective from The Last Dance, which was appointment viewing when you were in COVID and there was no sports, and ESPN was throwing The Last Dance out there every Sunday, and I was locked to it. And that was a brilliant job of putting a team together by that organization. Now, it ripped itself apart from the inside as egos got in the way, but you needed Pippen. And you needed Rodman. And as guys funneled in and out, whether it was Kerr or Harper, Longley, Kukoc at the end there, they needed all the pieces, and it's not a guarantee you're going to get that in Portland. So Michael Jordan was phenomenal, and my instincts tell me, yeah, he would have been a champion, a multi-time champion. Would he have gone 6-0 in finals? It's hard for me to say. That was a really good era of NBA basketball, and he had a lot of really good players around him. So the story's different, but that's the beauty of the butterfly effect. One thing changes, what else changes? I think significant things change in Portland. The what ifs there with Oden and with Sam Bowie. That's a tough scene.
Do you think they're unfairly criticized for that pick? I do, because everybody's like, oh, well, you should have drafted Jordan. It's easy to say after the fact. They had just drafted Clyde Drexler the year before, who played the same position as Jordan. Right. They needed a big man. I mean, I don't really fault them for that.
No, I don't either. There's no way to know. And at that time, you would have loved you love size. The NBA loved size. I did look at, because I obviously wasn't even around for the Jordan college years, and that draft wasn't even live yet. I was very much cognizant of what was going on for the Oden Durant decision, and now I was a kid, so take that for what it's worth. But I remember looking at it going, Durant looks a lot better than Oden, and Greg Oden couldn't stay healthy. So it's the same thing with Sam Bowie, who knows how good of an NBA player or productive a player Greg Oden is if he's healthy. But we'll see what the. I mean, look at home. Look inward. Look at your front porch looking in. The Ja Morant Zion thing. Like, is that going to be worth talking about at a certain time? I hope not, but it could be.
All right, this one I think people would come unglued.
I'll decide that.
What if LSU baseball loses 2 out of 3 this weekend?
Yeah, people will be like, they'll go nuts. Overhyped, sure. But no, in all seriousness, I care way too much about what average Joe fan says. And I'm average Joe fan too. I just happen to have a microphone 2 hours a day. I think I'm a little more measured than most people, but I love passion in people too. I care too much about what people say. Like, it's driving me a little bit crazy that there's such a vocal presence in the fan base that is just eviscerating Matt McMahon 6 times a week. That irks me. But regardless of that, I think the reaction to the Florida State loss this year, the reaction to the Tennessee loss this year in football were a little bit refreshing to me, because I think people kind of realized, it's not really time yet. And the reaction to the Georgia blowout was pretty level-headed. And I really believe this fan base, from a baseball perspective, has a good enough grasp on this sport to understand how difficult this mountain is to climb. I think there was an element there in the middle of the Maneri era where people were getting furious at some of the postseason losses, where I was bristling a little bit. 17 quelled that some. but everyone around here knows about Tennessee last year. Everyone around here knows Arkansas the year before that. They won every single weekend from the non-conference through the conference, through the SEC tournament, through the regional, and got beat in the Super. Everyone knows that. Everyone remembers in 2013 that LSU, North Carolina, and Vanderbilt were the best three teams. Vanderbilt went 26-3 that year and did not make it to Omaha. 26-3 in league play. So I think everyone around this fan base understands how long a journey this is and how tough it is to climb, being that we've won one championship in 23 years. So I think everyone's going to have a pretty good mindset on this, and I think what will reinforce that is the hype that was on Ole Miss last year before the season started. The bottom totally fell out. Everyone in Oxford quit on that program except the guys in the middle of it. Everyone. They were ready to they were going to fire Mike Bianco, and they got hot late. And I think everyone realizes that too. So what gives me a lot of comfort into going into this as someone who interacts with the fan base on a day-to-day basis is that everyone's going to realize that this team is so talented that barring a slew of injuries that just cripples it, there's really no reason to ever quit on this team. Even if for some reason they've got to go on the road in a regional, go on the road in a super, or they lose a game in Omaha, there's no reason to quit on this team because at any point, they're probably the best team on the field that day. So that gives me a little bit of a solace. And once again, I opened that entire salvo with, I know that I pay too much attention to what fans say and what fans think. But again, I don't sell insurance anymore. I'm not in oil and gas anymore. This is my life and my job 5 days a week. I'm in the middle of it now, so I do pay attention.
All right, in honor of your festivities yesterday, or should I say lack thereof, what if the second married Valentine's Day doesn't involve any celebration?
So that's us yesterday. Now, I'll say our house is a little bit under the weather at the moment, so that does a part of it. But, like, it's our second married Valentine's Day. She didn't get me a card, no presents. I got her one card. She appreciated the card. There was no dinner. She made a piece of cheese toast. I went to Pluckers. I think this is kind of setting a precedent here to where there's not an expectation of massive expenditures or gift giving or gestures on Valentine's Day, which I'm perfectly fine with. Now, she told me every year she wanted to go to dinner and thought that it'd be really nice if she got some flowers, which she will get probably in the future. I'm okay with that, but I'm certainly more than okay with just a basic little kind of moving right on through Valentine's Day and not giving too much attention to it. I mean,
did you say your house is under the weather?
Everyone in it.
Okay, I was about to say, how does a house get sick? Huh?
No, everyone in the house. This 1-year-old from daycare who comes home every day is a walking petri dish. My immune system has been an absolute freight train for 34 years, and in the last 6 months, it's just I've succumbed. I'm just perpetually not in great shape, which is a sad state of affairs, but it is what it is, and she's feeling that as well. But here we go. All right, let's see if we got any in the Bayou Ford chat worth getting to. Nookie's just throwing ridiculous stuff against the wall. What if NC State doesn't get run for COVID in Omaha? They might win it. They were really good, and they got told to go home because of COVID, which really stunk. And quite frankly, if I had to, try to get under Mississippi State's skin a little bit, I could be like, hey, you did win, but they sent a team home that didn't lose 2 games. Kind of an asterisk there. It's like I'm going to jump down Texas A&M's throat for winning a bunch of games with 20,000 people in the stadiums. That's not. It's a little different. Edward O, Nuss Bus Driver. What if LSU doesn't host a regional this year? Then they'll have to go on the road and beat somebody's brains in. That's the way it goes. I would be surprised if they don't, but that's certainly a possibility. Let's see. Looking through, some are not to be read here, but I think that's a good run through here on What If Wednesday. We will do it again next week. As I mentioned in the previous segment, they had a big hubbub in Knoxville about beer sales in the stadium for football games. I'll give you the resolution of that, some SEC hoops, and some baseball in hour number 2. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
I've got that blue sky, I've got that sunshine,
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls, Bands, and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting. With a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne, plus 2-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers, and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
Women who suffer from cardiac arrest outside of a hospital are less likely than men to receive life-saving CPR from bystanders. This is especially true for Black and Latino women. Be the one in your family to help change this statistic by taking the American Heart Association's challenge.
This is Charles Hanniger. Join us for the Thursday edition of Hanny Time. Former LSU pitcher and color analyst Doug Thompson joins us as we're one day away from LSU baseball. Hanny Time, noon weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
So the city of Knoxville got cranky with Tennessee, the University of Tennessee, last year because they did a little covert operation with the police department, sent some underage children to go buy beer in the stadium, and had a pretty strong success rate of getting those purchased. So the city of Knoxville said, look, Neyland Stadium is being operated in a disorderly manner. Aramark, the vendor, is to blame here. We need to cut this out. And Aramark and the university went, whoa. I don't think so. Can we talk about this? So they did. And Aramark said, okay, we'll train all our new employees. We'll donate $30,000 to the Drug Council. We'll pay a fine, $4,500, $700 in administrative costs. And we'll make sure only official Aramark employees can check IDs this year. And they've got to ask every single patron, whether they're 84 or 14, for an ID. And so the city council said, okay, let's look at the revenues here. Okay, alcohol sales last year, $2.67 million in revenue. That was split between Tennessee and Aramark. So they're looking at $1.3 million a pop. Okay, y'all are fine. Thanks for the donation of the $40,000. So they're going to give Aramark its beer permits. Now, they're going to kind of be on a probationary period here. There were crime logs pulled that said there was a pattern of public intoxication at Neyland Stadium. Knoxville News did an examination of the incidents dating back to 2015 and said, hey, look, by the way, this pattern that y'all are talking about doesn't date back to the beer sales in 19. It dates back basically to the beginning of time. This just in, 100,000 college football fans coming in at times are a little drunk and disorderly. Okay? Selling beer, not selling beer. Guess what? There's plenty of Jack Daniels in the parking lot. All this, I just kind of shake my head at. I know that you like to bring kids to games, and I'll be quite honest. My eyes were opened a little bit, and I think I told this story when I got back that Monday. I spent a lot of time in the Tiger Stadium press box. Not exactly the drunkest place in the stadium. And Saints games are at noon when I go, and sure, people are drinking, but I had not been in the thick of it for a night game in a while. But LSU got me a ticket for the Florida State game instead of a press box spot because they were low on press box spots. So I did the pregame show from Manning's, went in, got a seat, and went back up for the postgame in the press box. And man, y'all really are drunk out there. I mean, real drunk at that Florida State game. So that was a little bit different perspective because when I was a student and young adult, sure, I was having plenty of pops and you don't quite notice it as much. But I understand where they're coming from. I just vehemently disagree. Sell beer. It's fine. You're never going to stop alcohol-induced situations at college football events. Sell it, don't sell it. It's going to happen. But it's a huge revenue deal. And quite frankly, far more people just enjoy the fact that they can have a beer or a mixed drink or a wine or whatever. Far more people just enjoy the fact they can do that at the game than blatantly abuse it, throw up on everybody, get in a fight, and pass out drunk. That's going to happen, but it to me, we're trying to be holier than thou, talking about 100,000 people watching a football game. Let's use some common sense here. Most of the people in there are just going to enjoy their beers, enjoy their drinks, get a little buzz, watch the game, and no harm done, plus a lot of revenue to a lot of people. And then there are going to be some people who totally misbehave, and it's the way it goes. But Knoxville, no worries. You're going to be able to buy beer at Neyland Stadium next year. Now you just need to figure out who your quarterback's going to be. That'll do it for hour number one here on a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Open the show talking LSU and Georgia hoops. Had some fun with the baseball lineup. What if they got to stack the lineup with left-handed hitters? What do they do? What if they got to stack it with right-handed hitters? What do they do? I laid it out. Pretty fun to go through that exercise. Did that at 1:15. What If Wednesday at 1:30. Went through a ton of what-ifs there. I always have a lot of fun doing that. If you missed any of it, you can catch it on demand. 1045ESPN.com's on-demand tab. All the shows are there. Click Hunt Palmer Show. Our sound is updated every single day. You can go to Apple Podcasts. You can go to Spotify. And, of course, appreciate y'all for hanging out on YouTube in the Watch 104 ESPN live channel. That's driven by Bayou Ford. Hour 2 is coming up after SportsCenter. SEC hoops tonight. Alabama and Tennessee Plus, we'll get to my picks from last night. I'll give you some picks for tonight. Demui is going to come up at 2:30. That's Chris Demui, former Tiger left-hander, talking a little bit of baseball. So come back with us right after SportsCenter. It's the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP on select new 2022 Ford F-150 trucks. $10,000 off plus 0% financing. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit.
Let's go, defense!
We get it done with passion for our fans
and love for our community.
We are the Tigers. Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring, wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, and check out New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville, or NOLAFlooring.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls, Bands, and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting. With a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne, plus 2-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers, and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi with breaking baseball news. Yankees right-hander Frankie Montas needs shoulder surgery and will miss most or all of the 2023 season. LeBron James expected to return from ankle soreness tonight when the Lakers host the Pelicans 10 Eastern on ESPN TV. The Lakers 13th in the NBA's Western Conference, 2.5 games out of the final play-in spot. If LA does make the postseason, though, its run will be short, believes our Jay Williams.
You have LeBron James playing through this sore foot. I do continue to question the health of Anthony Davis and whether he can get back to playing at a top 5 level in the league. And I think as these pieces are better pieces than what they had before, I still see this team being, an 8 seed, a 7 seed who goes out or has an exit in the first round. Or most they'll ever get is to Western Conference semifinals. I still don't see them being a contender.
Jay Will of Keyshawn, Jay Will, and Max. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports Jaguars receiver Calvin Ridley, who was suspended for 1 season after being accused of betting on games in November 2021 while he played for the Falcons, is applying to the NFL today for reinstatement. Commissioner Raj Goodell makes the call on whether he returns to the field.
We all know the game isn't over till it's over. So next time you need parts for your car, don't call it quits. Go to eBay Motors. They have 122 million parts to take your car into overtime. Get the right parts at the right prices. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Now, Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour number 2, back half of the work week. Trying to work towards the weekend here in the capital city. Hope you're staying dry. Next 2 days don't look super awesome in terms of rain. But sunshine coming this weekend. It's going to be a little chilly on Friday for opening night at the Box. A lot to get to in hour number 2. Chris Demui, former Tiger left-hander, going to talk some baseball with us in 30 minutes. Going to get to big-time action in the Southeastern Conference in basketball tonight. But first, we got to look back at yesterday and my picks. If you heard the show yesterday, I'm on a heater. There's just no two ways about it. 2 weeks ago, I go 2-2. That's a dub. Last week, 2-2. That's a dub. Super Bowl, I went 4 for 5. I'm on fire. It's like NBA Jam circa 1998. I'm on fire. So last night I gave you a couple of picks in Southeastern Conference action. The first one was South Carolina Vanderbilt. South Carolina, atrocious. Vanderbilt, not atrocious right now. We go with the not atrocious team. We take the doors. We lay the 5 points. Winner! Vanderbilt 75, South Carolina 64. Liam Robbins continues his really strong play in the post for Vanderbilt. He had 24 points and 8 rebounds. Vanderbilt was up 20 at halftime in this game. Tried to give some of it back in the second half, get up 46 points, but they do win by 11. That covers the 5 with ease. That ticket is cash. South Carolina, as I mentioned, is atrocious. They'll be in Baton Rouge coming up on Saturday. The bigger game in SEC play last night was a Missouri team that can get really, really hot and go nuts. Had just beaten Tennessee against an Auburn team, kind of licking its wounds, trying to find its way. Had lost 4 of 5. Auburn was a home favorite. What was my pick? I like Auburn laying the 6.5 here. Oh, really? Pay the man. 89-56, 33-point dub for Auburn. The halftime of this score was 45-18. This is a white-hot heater for your boy. The people who have been fading my picks, I'm talking to you in the Bayou Ford chat. Fade Hunt, hashtag Fade Hunt, load up on the opposite side. You're getting crushed, and I like it. Noah Black says 2-2 is not a dub. That's a net negative. Actually, if I'm talking about the faders who were taken against my picks, they're paying the juice. They're the ones losing. None of this is coming out of my pocket. Thought we were already determined that. I'm just giving you the picks to make. You're the one that may be fading it. Here it is. So let's go to tonight. Randall Oddfront says hashtag Fade Hunt. You're going to be broke. Going to be knocking on the door, foreclosing the home. I'm going to see that car loaded up on the tow truck, pulling it out of town. Got the kids crying in the front yard. It's going to be a scene in there if you keep fading me. So what do we got tonight? We got some really big games. The first one tonight is at 5:30. It is Ole Miss and Florida. Florida is at home at the O-Dome, taking on a bad Ole Miss team. Florida's been kind of up and down. I love their front court. We know that College Castleton's really good. And when he's on the floor, like watching Alex Fudge play. He was a really exciting player here, even though he didn't get extended minutes all that often. But Florida's guards are not great. Ole Miss, when healthy, has some pretty good guards. They have not been healthy and just had a guard quit the team 2 weeks ago, so that doesn't help your cause. The line is 9. That's more than I want to lay with Florida, but I will lay the 9 points. I will take the Florida Gators. I think Ole Miss is B-A-D bad, so I will take the Gators. Biggest game of the night, 6 o'clock, ESPN 2, Alabama at Tennessee. Vols have been hurting a little bit. We know this. This is a game that everybody's had penciled in for weeks, but you didn't have Tennessee having lost 3 of 4 on your bingo card coming into this one. Tennessee lost to Florida by 13 on the road when they couldn't score, had 54 points. They lost at Vanderbilt on a corner 3 at the buzzer. They lost to Missouri on a heave at the buzzer. The only win they have in their last 4 games is a win on their home floor against Auburn where they scored 46 points. They're banged up. Josiah Jordan-James has been banged up. Vesky's been banged up for a couple of weeks. Tennessee is injured. But this will be probably the best environment in the Southeastern Conference this year. They'll fill the Tommy Bowl up. There will be 20,000 in there for number 1 in the country, Alabama, who's 12-0 in league play. The line on this game is interesting, the way that Tennessee has played. And you counter that with the way that Alabama has played recently, where they beat Auburn handily at Auburn. They crushed Florida. They went to LSU and won. Who cares? They beat Vanderbilt by 60. And then you have the Oklahoma game where it just went off the rails in Norman. But that was 3 weeks ago now. So Bama's been bulletproof to this point in Southeastern Conference play. Tennessee's a 3-point favorite in this game. Now, I see absolutely, well, I shouldn't say 0 reason. Very little reason to believe that Tennessee is going to come out here and keep up with Alabama. They're going to try to keep this game in the 60s if they can. I don't think they can. Now, Mississippi State did drag Alabama into the mud in a game in Tuscaloosa, and Bama won 66-63. That's the blueprint for Tennessee. Run them off the 3-point line, rebound like crazy, get to the foul line, and try to keep the game in the 60s. I just don't think they can do it. I think Josiah Jordan-James is as capable as anybody in the league of guarding Brandon Miller because he's 6'7" and long and athletic and old. But Miller's still going to get his. I like Sears. Here's my prediction. If Tennessee stays in this game or wins it, I like Zakai Ziegler to be the guy that makes it happen. If it happens for Tennessee, Ziegler goes for 25 points and hits 6 threes. I don't trust the rest of the Vols in this game at this pace. I trust Tennessee's defense against just about everybody in college basketball, not against these guys. So I will take Bama. I'm getting 3 points with the best team in the country. Give me the 3 with the Tide. Kentucky's on life support. It doesn't look like it when you look at their record. They're 16-9, 7-5 in the league. That doesn't look like life support. It is life support. Because their signature wins are few and far between, with Tennessee being basically it. You've got some bad losses now with Georgia and South Carolina on the resume that are, quite frankly, bad losses. And your SEC wins are not going to be super impressive. Nice win against A&M at home, I guess. That's really all to speak of. They got Tennessee coming up. They got a trip to Arkansas coming up. But they need to win this game badly at Mississippi State tonight at 7:30 on the SEC Network. And State's the favorite. I don't like this Kentucky team very much anymore. I did in December, even though they were losing games against high-profile teams. I thought, Cal kind of get it together, and they got enough talent to make it work. I now don't really feel that way. So I'm going to take Mississippi State and lay the 3 against Kentucky. I don't like the way Kentucky's playing right now. And I think that they're on life support, and Mississippi State is confident. Mississippi State is at home. Mississippi State plays really hard, and I think they can frustrate Kentucky and win the game. And then a really important game for Arkansas and Texas A&M. A&M has to have a sterling SEC resume to make the tournament. To this point, they absolutely qualify. 10-2 in the league, phenomenal. Put them in. They need to win this home game against Arkansas. Arkansas's resume, meanwhile, not very good. Road game at Texas A&M would be impressive to win. No question about it. So Eric Musselman's team, which has been very, very good in January and especially in February during his time there, has got to rebound from a home loss to Mississippi State where he scored 64 points and go rebound this thing against Texas A&M. It's going to be a packed Reed Arena. They're fueling that basketball team. A&M's a 3.5-point choice. I'll take the home team and lay the points. I will take Texas A&M to beat Arkansas by more than 3.5 and feel pretty good doing it, quite frankly, because A&M, I think, is better than Arkansas, and they're at home. I think that's a game they can win by 8 to 12 points. So give me the Texas A&M Aggies laying 3.5. Give me Mississippi State against Kentucky laying 3. Give me the Tide catching 3 points in Knoxville, and I will certainly take the Florida Gators laying 9 against Ole Miss. Those are my picks in the Southeastern Conference for tonight. If you've been a fader, I would suggest you get on the bandwagon while it is piping hot and smoking, which is what it is right now. Those are my picks. Chris Demui with us in 15 minutes. We'll come back with more. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford, all that inventory right there, updated at your fingertips at BayouFord.com. We know that inventory is moving faster than ever these days in the auto industry. So Bayou Ford's got to keep up with it online, and they do. As inventory comes in, they'll upload it to the site. As inventory moves out, it'll be taken down. Check out the site day to day. See if what you're looking for comes in, whether you're looking for an Explorer or an Expedition. Maybe it's an F-150. You're looking for a Bronco or a Mustang. Bayou Ford's got you covered there. If they don't have exactly what you want, don't settle just because it's what's on the lot. It's what's on the site. Bayou Ford can customize a vehicle for you. 75% of their customers customize a vehicle. It's one of the bigger investments that we make. Might as well get exactly what it is that you're looking for. They'll have your custom vehicle turned around in 60 to 90 days, delivered right to your home with the paperwork. That's the Bayou to You guarantee. And you can get on about your day. If you're driving something around you're not thrilled with, want to get into a new car, let Bayou Ford buy your car from you with their great buyback program and get you started on some new wheels. BayouFord.com is the website. BayouFord.com is the website. Bayou Ford, where they're going to do right by you.
Our listeners fire up their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Women who suffer from cardiac arrest outside of a hospital are less likely than men to receive life-saving CPR from bystanders. This is especially true for Black and Latino women. Be the one in your family to help change this statistic by taking the American Heart Association's challenge to learn CPR. Be the beat for someone you love. You can make a difference when it matters most. Go to heart.org today to take the CPR challenge and save lives.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR, presented by Pluckers. The latest on the Saints quarterback options. We'll recap LSU-Georgia in hoops, and we'll update Zion's injury status. 3 to 6, join us, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Chris Demui in 13 minutes decided to talk some baseball with a former Tiger southpaw. You ever heard the saying, you got to spend money to make money? I don't know if it's necessarily 100% true all the time. I can tell you this. If you want to win in college football, you do have to spend money to win games. Nobody who does it on the cheap can get it done. It's not doable. Florida State fell behind in facilities, program imploded. Florida's fallen behind on facilities, didn't have the recruiting budget, imploded. Now, you can spend $1 bajillion like A&M did, and it may not result in any wins. But if you don't spend money, you're not going to win. And it appears, based on reports, that Notre Dame made a decision yesterday, not based on winning games, based on money. I don't have all the details, but there have been plenty of people that have reported on this, that have dug into it, and the consensus seems to be that Notre Dame decided that Andy Ludwig, the Utah offensive coordinator, was their target to replace Tommy Rees as offensive coordinator. Utah's had a really good offense over the last couple of years. That's who they wanted. Well, the buyout's $2.8 million. So Notre Dame passed. $2.8 million. That's a lot of money, certainly for me. Want to guess what Notre Dame's endowment is? Yes, I'm well aware that the endowment doesn't necessarily indicate how much money you're willing to spend on football or is available to football, but it is a metric that is readily available on the internet, so I will use it in this instance. Notre Dame's endowment is $18.4 billion. Andy Ludwig's buyout's $2.8 million. And they didn't pull the trigger. Notre Dame does a lot of different things a lot differently than most teams in the nation. We got our own television contract, so we don't need to be in a conference because we're Notre Dame. Whatever. That was cool in the 80s. It's not anymore. We don't accept transfers here at Notre Dame. Okay, cool. Awesome in the 80s. Not cool now. Here at Notre Dame, we're not going to spend our $2.8 million on a football coach to coach the plays on offense. Well, then you're not going to get the guy you want to run the offense that you want. We don't compromise our academic integrity for athletics. Okay, enjoy the Sun Bowl. I don't know all the details here. Wouldn't pretend to. But what it sounds like to me is that Notre Dame went on the cheap here. And we've seen this from various programs over the years. Brett Bielema went to the Rose Bowl multiple times at Wisconsin, and they wouldn't pay his coordinator, so he left and went to Arkansas. Brian Kelly got a huge wad of cash from LSU, winningest coach in the history of Notre Dame, and left. If Notre Dame is fine ducking its head around the Access Bowls here and there and getting blown out by 40 in every huge game they play, great. I don't have any beef with that. But if you want to win, you better open up that $18.4 billion endowment and tell somebody they got to pay the offensive coordinator. That's just the way this thing is played. So if you want to live in we don't have a conference, we're not splitting revenues with you, we're just doing the NBC thing, and we're not taking transfers, and we're not bending our academic standards for football players, and we're not going to pay buyouts for offensive coordinators, that's all fine and dandy. If you want to do that, you're going to have some trouble winning games against the schools that are doing all those things. Just the vibe I'm getting from over here. And personally, I don't care about Notre Dame anymore. I grew up in a household that despised Notre Dame. I didn't like the whole we're not in a conference thing. We're the only school with a television contract. I don't care. And I certainly don't give a rip about what their program does with Marcus Freeman versus what LSU's does with Brian Kelly. If Brian Kelly wins a national championship in Baton Rouge and Marcus Freeman wins 2 at Notre Dame, I will lose 0 sleep. If Brian Kelly never wins more than 8 games the rest of the time in Baton Rouge, and Notre Dame goes on and wins 2 national championships with Marcus Freeman, I will lose 0 sleep. I don't care about the constant bickering and measuring between LSU and Notre Dame and LSU and Florida based on one hiring circle. I don't care. My interest is in what goes on Nicholson Drive and Skip Burtman Drive, the guys with the purple and gold on. That's all I care about. I don't care about Notre Dame. But I saw this story, and it popped up, and I went, that is not the way to run things. So I know there's a ton of y'all that are going to get in internet fights with people every time Notre Dame loses a commitment or loses a game, and Brian Kelly does this and that, and I'm out on that game. Notre Dame's not in my league. We never play them. I don't care. But when I see this story pop up and I understand that what matters in sports is how much you invest into what you're doing in terms of college sports and facilities, NIL possibilities, coaching hires, buyouts, all that kind of stuff. In the pros, it's what can you pay your players and how well do you take care of them financially. If you do it on the cheap, it will not work. So we'll see who Notre Dame lands on now that they're going to continue to look. But Tommy Rees left his alma mater for Alabama, and it appears, had a guy that you were very interested in and couldn't get past $2.4 million, which is a drop in the bucket to the alums at Notre Dame. But keep doing you, Indy. I won't stop you. Moving right along here on a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. I want to remind you this February, 104.5 ESPN and Citizens Bank and Trust are here to offer you a holiday rebate to the tune of $2,000 in cash. We'll also be selecting a local prize winner to receive $1,000 in cash. Sign up now at 1045ESPN.com. We'll throw a Citizens Bank poll question up, get the answer here in about 25 minutes or so. Do temps in the mid-40s scare you off from attending opening night at the box? Yes or no way? Get your answer here coming up. It is going to be chilly, I'll tell you. It should be a little bit warmer on Saturday and certainly on Sunday out at the box, but they can't keep me out of there. I'm going to pack some gloves. I'll be bundled up, and I will be at the box on Friday night for a 6:30 first pitch, LSU in Western Michigan. Speaking of pitches and LSU baseball, Chris Demui threw a bunch of them for the Fighting Tigers back in the 90s, now has the 60 feet, 6 inches LSU baseball podcast. He will jump aboard in his now weekly Wednesday segment coming up next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
One Bath and Closets. The website's onebathandclosets.com. They've got all kinds of testimonials on the website. Go check them out. I'll tell you this. David Duvall and his team have been in the game for 30 years, and they do things the right way. They're going to come in. They're going to evaluate your situation. Going to give you a questionnaire to get you started, and they're going to lay out a plan for you. They're going to show up on time. They're going to stay on schedule. They're going to get that job done, and they're not going to come back in 3 weeks to go fix something that was not done properly because they were trying to get to the next job. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. Tell you every single day about what the wonders they can do with your closet. If you're cluttered and you've got so much stuff and you don't know what to do with it and it's busting at the seams, let David Duvall and his team come in. They can help you with cubbies and racks and drawers and mirrors, all kinds of things they can do to customize a closet solution for you. Their bathroom work is exemplary. They can do a full-scale bathroom renovation. They're your one-stop contractor. They can do it all. Or you can do something a little more simple like the tub-to-shower conversion. We've got great pictures of that on the website. Take that tub out, put in a gorgeous glass walk-in shower. It can turn the functionality and the look of your bathroom really, really quickly. Go to onebathandclosets.com. That's the website, onebathandclosets.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit.
We get it done with passion for our fans
and love for our community.
We are the Tigers.
Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls Bands and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting with a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne, plus two-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers.
Join me, Jimmy Ott, for Game Time, live from Snow's Seafood and Steak Airline Highway at Highway 74 in Gonzales. 6 to 8 p.m. Wednesday. Got a bunch of guests giving out picks. Game Time on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We're getting closer and closer and closer. The first pitch from the box. It's, I guess, 48-4. Would be 52 hours away from first pitch at the box. Really fired up this year. Every single Wednesday at 2:30, we'll chat with former Tiger left-hander Chris Demui. Joins us on the phone now. Chris, how are you?
Doing good, buddy. How you doing, Hunt?
Doing very well. Fired up for this weekend, as I know most around here very much are. Let's start on the pitching side of things. We don't have a huge sample size with Jay Johnson, and he certainly did not have the amount of firepower with his arms as last year as he does this year. So what do you expect from whoever he does tab as his first three starters? Do we throw 6 innings? Do we go 100 pitches? Do we keep it closer to 40? What do you think it looks like in weekend number 1?
I would probably lean more towards the 80 pitch count limit. The scrimmages I've seen, it looks like they're going 4 innings and they're stopping, and I can't imagine him pushing that any further this weekend. And I think it's also a good chance before they head off to Round Rock to face some more stiff competition, to get some younger guys some innings under their belt, in front of that crowd and with that atmosphere, let them get their feet wet. So I would imagine you'll see Skeens go 4 or 5, and the other starters, probably Floyd and Hurd, do the same thing unless they're, through 5 innings they've only thrown 60 pitches. He may push him out there for one more, but I just don't know if it's really worth it this early in the season.
Paul Skeens' numbers were good last year for Air Force, but certainly not what you might expect for a top 15 pick against Mountain West competition. It wasn't as if he was just utterly dominant, and his one outing against Texas in the regional was pretty uneven. Texas hit him around a little bit. The expectation is that he's made a jump here, and he's a top 15 potential pick. He's a Team USA pitcher. What do you see when you watch Paul Skeens?
I mean, the first thing that jumps off the bat, one is his size, but the other one is his fastballs. I mean, it's absolutely electric. Fans going out Friday night can expect to see him sit 97 to 99 in the first inning. I wouldn't be surprised if he hits 100 just because he's going to be amped up.
Yeah.
He has really good secondary stuff. I think he features a nice 2-seam fastball, and he has a wipeout slider with a changeup as well. But I did see he struggled a little bit in the scrimmage this past weekend when I watched him. I wouldn't say he got hit around. He did get a little wild, to where he hurt himself with a couple of walks, and then some people kind of hit some pitches that were left over the middle of the plate. So I'd imagine he still has some fine-tuning to do. But when you put that lineup, and I think the defense is going to be much improved, you put those guys behind him, I think his numbers will even out. And then maybe once you get him out of that thin air of the Air Force Academy, the Big West Conference out there, that'll probably help his numbers as well. But, from a potential standpoint, he's off the charts.
Yeah, there's no question about that. I don't know this, I think Jay Johnson's going to announce his weekend rotation coming up tomorrow. Jay is very adamant that he's not going to give his rotation out before he's got it from the other team. He sees an advantage there, doesn't want to concede it. Who do you think will be the next 2 guys after Skeens?
I'm probably like a lot of y'all, just guessing at this point, but I would imagine it's going to go Floyd on Saturday, then Hurd on Sunday, and that's just what I guess. Could you see Christian Little jump in there? I think maybe later in the year, but I don't know about this weekend. So I think Floyd and Hurd.
When you watch Ty Floyd do anything but throw a fastball, which is all he did for the first 2 months of last year, what do you see?
Well, the other day I saw something that was really surprising and very encouraging, was his changeup. You saw a little bit of it last year, especially in the regional. You saw them working it more. But I was absolutely astounded by his changeup this past weekend. I think I tweeted out he had a series against Trey Morgan. He went down 2-0. Then he went 2-0 changeup for a strike, 2-0 changeup for a strike, then 96 paint on the inside black, and it caught Morgan looking. And that just blew me away. So I think if he has that confidence and the ability to throw a changeup for a strike, that's enormous. And he still has a breaking ball. I think he'd maybe still be working on some consistency with it, but I think it's a pitch for a strike and something he can count on. But to me, the changeup is a potential game changer for him.
A question I get all the time is, who's the closer going to be? And Jay's taking that question at Rotary Club. How important is it to have a closer?
That's a good question. I don't know who the closer is going to be. Obviously, we know with the untimely and unfortunate injury of Grant Taylor, it seemed like they were talking about him shutting the door. And I was kicking this idea around, and you can tell me what you think. I think if you can't find somebody in the beginning of the year, I have no problem putting Riley Cooper at the end of games, or even Bryce Collins, just because those guys have been through the fires. And to me, everybody thinks of closers having amazing stuff, but I feel like closers is more of that mentality. It's almost like a DB in football where you're going to get burnt, but you got to get back up there. So if a closer, if you give up the lead or you lose the game, you got to be ready to come back Saturday, Sunday. You have to have the ability to pitch multiple times in a weekend. So I think they could run a couple of guys out there. Aiden Moffitt, from a freshman standpoint, he's got a great fastball. I think Cooper could fit that bill just from a mentality perspective. And maybe even Christian Little. I don't know if they've had conversations to where he definitely wants to start. I'm just throwing stuff against the wall. I truly don't know. But I could see Little closing as well. I'm kind of at a loss for words here. I don't know what you think on the closing situation.
I just think he's going to put the guy out there that he thinks gives him the best chance that day. I think there are some years in the scenario where they had a closer, Chris Cotton, Nick Goody, Matty Ott, and there were some years where they didn't. They just kind of went with the guy, whether it was Hunter Newman and I think there are enough good pitchers on this team to where he'll just have who he believes gives him the best chance that day. The other thing that I don't know about these guys, because so many are so new, is how comfortable they are throwing 31 pitches on Friday and then coming back and being asked to throw 26 more on Saturday. That's not something everyone can do, and we're just not in a position right now to speculate on that because we haven't seen it at all.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think you have to be careful with high school guys from that standpoint as well, because this season is going to be the longest of their careers, and putting guys like that into a closer role that all these guys have started in high school, obviously. So that's just a different strain upon their arm. And the other thing too, you brought up a great point, is it's not just the pitch count on Friday and Saturday; it's the getting up, sitting down, right? It's the getting hot down there in the bullpen to where you may go in the eighth, and then the reliever gets out of it, and Jay tells you to sit down. Then in the ninth, you're getting hot again. And then if they don't use you, then what does that look like for your arm on Saturday and Sunday? So, and that's kind of why I lean towards Cooper in that answer, just because I know he has the ability to bounce back. And what I've seen from him the past couple weekends and in the fall, I mean, he has been absolutely lights out.
What would you say if they put Riley Cooper in the starting rotation this weekend?
I think he's too good in the bullpen to do that. Could he do that? Yeah, I think he can give you 3 or 4. But to me, he's just too valuable in the bullpen in terms of the ability for him to throw multiple innings on a Friday, Sunday per se. I don't think you're going to need that this weekend, but I just don't see. I just think he's too valuable in the bullpen to not to waste him on a starting role. I just like him in the pen, and I think he has the mentality to come out of the pen as well.
Is there any other arm that you've seen in scrimmages you've been out to that we haven't necessarily touched on here? Whether it maybe Chase Shores, Griffin Herring, any of those guys?
Yeah, those two guys have been phenomenal. But the one who caught me by surprise a couple weekends ago is Garrett Edwards.
Yeah.
Blew me away. One, his velocity is bumped up from the fall to the spring. And then the other thing, it looked like he developed a cutter. And it seems like everybody in the team now has a cutter. Everybody has 3 or 4 pitches for strikes. It's been eye-opening, really, what Wes Johnson's done with these guys. But Garrett Edwards, he was 95 with a cutter. And to me, he screamed setup man. Get 6 outs. And I think people will see more of him than they have in previous years. And hats off to that young man for sticking around and just grinding it out. But besides the freshmen and all the guys we typically talk about, I think Edwards has been a pleasant surprise to me.
Matt Musso been singing his praises on the Musso at the Box podcast, and certainly thinks he can be a big piece of this bullpen. We shall see this weekend. LSU and Western Michigan 3-game set. Chatting with Chris Demui, former Tiger LSU pitcher, host of the 60 Feet 6 Inches LSU Baseball podcast. He's going to chat with us every single Wednesday at 2:30. Pitchers love defense. You're a pitcher. What do you think about LSU's infield defense entering the season?
Well, I think it's going to be better, right? I mean, I think everybody hopes to do that. And in doing some research for some of these podcasts, it was bad last year. I think everybody will admit that, and that's probably one of the reasons Jay Johnson has become more hands-on with the defense. And obviously I didn't know those things with regards to Jordan Thompson is short, coming off that knee injury. I don't know if anybody knew that before it came out in the media about a week ago. So I've been not surprised, but pleasantly pleased with Tommy White at third. When I've seen him out there, he's made some really nice plays ranging to his left and making throws on the right. And then I think I like what I see from Ben DePolt at second base, the transfer from VCU. And then you had Jack Merrifield's been around the program for a long time, and I think he's solid in playing multiple positions. So it's a very long answer to say I think it's going to be much improved. And I think you get a bump behind the plate as well. And I think a lot of LSU fans had some issues last year with pass balls or wild pitches or however you want to classify them. But I think Milazzo brings a steadiness behind the plate that LSU fans will be happy to see.
Yeah, let's talk about that as a pitcher. With the depth that LSU has at catcher they did not have last year, with the obvious offensive upgrade that Neal is, but the defensive upgrade that Milazzo is, coming at it from a pitcher's perspective, your thoughts on the catcher position?
To me, I always wanted somebody I was comfortable with receiving the ball. And some guys you threw to more often than others. Some is something to flip of the coin, or just whoever happened to be catching that day, or you just always lined up with the same people in the fall and the spring. But I think that's the most important thing from a pitcher. You have to be comfortable with the guy receiving the ball, and sometimes you have a better rapport with guys. And the other thing, I just wanted to make sure if I had to do, I threw a lot of curveballs, but if I've had to bounce a breaking ball, I want to have the confidence to know that those guys could block it. And I think we saw those guys struggle with that last year, but from what I've seen in scrimmages between Milazzo or Neal or Jones or Fry, those guys do a really good job defensively. And as a pitcher, you just want to have confidence in that part of your repertoire. And then these guys throw so hard, the ability to receive fastballs and not take strikes away from you is the big thing as well. But it looks like they're doing a great job back there. Milazzo looks good, and both of those guys have an absolute cannon with Milazzo and Neal back there. So I think the catching position's in some really good hands this year and for the future.
You played for championship teams. You played for teams that were expected to win championships this time on the calendar. What are these guys going through right this very second as they're 2 days from getting out on the field?
They're so excited. They're so ready to play. They're tired of playing each other. They're tired of facing the same pitchers. The pitchers are definitely tired of facing that lineup, and they're just ready to face somebody with a different colored jersey on. And that nervous excitement will start building, I'm sure, Friday morning. Thursday night, it'll just be home, probably another practice, but Friday morning, you're going to start getting those butterflies in your stomach, and when you get to the field, everything's all decked out. You see the fans start coming in. You're going to get jacked, and they're going to be amped up. And it's just a great time to be out there with your brothers. You've been working for this for a long time. And I guess they have the pressure of being the number one team, but I would look at it as the excitement of being the number one team. You're ready to prove to the fans and to the media and whoever it is that you are that good, and then you're ready to show that, against Western Michigan to open the season at the box.
He is Chris Demui, former Tiger LSU Tiger pitcher, host of the 60 Feet 6 Inches LSU Baseball Pod, going to join us every Wednesday. Enjoy the box this weekend. We'll talk next week.
Sounds good, Hunt. Thank you.
He is Chris Demui. I'm going to really enjoy our conversations weekly with Demui. He knows what he's talking about, comes at it from experience, and I think gives a perspective on this team that we do have some guys in the market that can come at it from this perspective. You'll hear from Terrio every Friday on Matt's show, who can definitely come at it from this perspective, having won a couple of national championships. Buzzy Heidel, who talks with us a good bit during baseball season, was on a team that was preseason number 1 in 2009 that won a national championship. Doug Thompson is around, and he certainly won national championship and was on a team with high expectations. So it's not as if it's a unicorn in Chris Demui, but he is a guy that played in an era where when you put on the purple and gold, you're supposed to show up and win a national championship. That's the expectation on this team, realistic or not. And I'm curious to get his thoughts as we continue to move through the season here, getting things started up this weekend. Take one more time out, come back, play some Take It or Leave It. That'll do it for us on a Wednesday. Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LWCC is Louisiana loyal, celebrating and elevating champions of Louisiana like Simone Malaz. Simone Malaz has dedicated her entire career to protecting Louisiana's coast and helping the state take a leading role on the world stage in environmental restoration. The state's coastal land loss crisis is not only a problem for Louisiana, the state's home to nearly 40% of the nation's wetlands and is responsible for the production of over 20% of all commercial fisheries landings by weight in the lower 48 states. We know how important our coastline is to our state. It houses 2.5 million people, supports infrastructure like highways, ports, pipelines that fuel the country's economy. And Simone, as the executive director of Restore or Retreat, has dedicated her career to protecting that coastline. She is certainly a champion of Louisiana. We've had a great time celebrating her all February long. LWCC gives us that opportunity. So if you know a champion of Louisiana, go to lwcc.com/champions and nominate them. so that we can tell their story right here on the Hunt Palmer Show. Simone Malaz is February's Champion of Louisiana, presented by LWCC.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Women who suffer from cardiac arrest outside of a hospital are less likely than men to receive life-saving CPR from bystanders. This is especially true for Black and Latino women. Be the one in your family to help change this statistic by taking the American Heart Association's challenge to learn CPR. Be the beat for someone you love. You can make a difference when it matters most. Go to heart.org today to take the CPR challenge and save lives.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls, Bands, and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting. With a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne. Plus two-time PBR world champion Chris
NBA All-Star Weekend. Tune in Friday night at 8 p.m. for the Rising Stars Challenge. Saturday at 7 p.m. for All-Star Saturday Night. And Sunday at 7 p.m. for the All-Star Game. Right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
About to close up shop here. Wednesday edition Hunt Palmer Show. Hope your day is going great. Payday for some of us. 15th. It's always a good thing. Let's play some Take It or Leave It.
All right, let's do it. Eric Bieniemy is said to be interviewing for the Commanders' offensive coordinator position today. He will take that job. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I think it's trending that direction. Everyone's up in arms that he didn't get a head coaching job. A lot of that is a little bit much for me. But I do think that Eric Bieniemy will feel like he needs to take flight if his ultimate job is to become a head coach. Ultimate goal is to become a head coach. I think he's just not going to get the credit that he may deserve. I don't know if he's awesome at his job or not. He may be fantastic. He may have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. I don't know. And I think that the success is there's a caveat next to it because he's got Reid and Mahomes next to him and Kelsey and Tyreek Hill. And That may be fair. It may not be fair. But we won't know unless he can go to Washington with whatever that coordinator situation is going to be and put up a top 10 offense in the league. If he does that, I think the calls will come more quickly. Not that he hasn't been getting calls. He's interviewed for like 17 jobs. But I think he'll take the job if they offer.
A spring training baseball trip, take it or leave it?
For me, I'm going to leave it because I've got LSU baseball during spring training, which is real and here, and I don't have weather problems. If you are in Pittsburgh or Kansas City and it's 21 for 4 months out of the year or worse, and you just want to get down to Jupiter, Florida, or Mesa, Arizona to catch baseball in 75 degrees and play some golf, I think that's a fantastic thing to do in February and March. I don't need it, so I'm gonna leave spring training baseball trips. I don't know that that's something that I'm gonna get into. My traveling for professional baseball is going to be going to watch the Cubs play somewhere, which I'm very excited to go to LA to Dodger Stadium and catch the Cubs here in a couple months.
The New York Yankees' big addition this offseason was right-hander Frankie Montas.
Yeah.
On the eve of pitchers and catchers reporting, it appears Montas might be headed for season-ending shoulder surgery. Carlos Correa is jealous of Frankie Montas' physical results. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. Montas got the big contract, and then immediately before one practice has to have shoulder surgery. Sounds like they're going to have it next week on the 21st. Correa signs a contract, and they go to the physical and go, no, we're not giving you any of that money. Carlos Correa's got to be like, wait a second, this guy had shoulder surgery, didn't even practice once. That's a tough break for Carlos. He still got a pretty nice chunk of change, but not nearly what he was going to get. Frankie Montas, really good right-hander, and that is a tough blow for the Yankees to have really your biggest splash of the free agent market miss the entire season before a practice starts. That's a tough scene.
Speaking of injuries, Tiger Woods is trying to make his way back. He's going to tee it up for the first time since the 2022 Open Championship this week at Riviera Country Club. Tiger will make the cut. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. He always makes the cut. He made the cut at those at the majors last year until he had to withdraw from the PGA, and it was just too tough. But he can't walk. So I mean, even watching him yesterday with some of the press conference stuff, he can't walk. And Riv is very hilly. You come off the first tee and you got to walk down this massive hill. It's one of the coolest golf courses they play all year. It's Tiger's tournament. It's Genesis Invitation. There's a ton of buzz because he's back and playing. And I believe if you had a driving range competition where you had to hit golf shots, Tiger could handle it. If you have to walk 72 holes, he can't. And I think it's going to be the same story. He's got plantar fasciitis now. His leg's been sewn together with duct tape and pins. It's a tough scene. He can't walk. So he's going to try to play competitive golf, and it's exciting when he gets out there. And I'll be pulling for him, but I just don't see him being competitive. I do think because he tends to do it on courses that he knows very well, like Augusta, he makes the cut. He's just not all that competitive with the guys at the top of the leaderboard. So that's kind of where I think things will stand there. So excited to watch it a little bit tomorrow. Riv is a really, really cool event on the PGA Tour calendar. Really excited for tomorrow's show. We will recap Alabama and Tennessee, some SEC basketball notes, but tomorrow in the first hour, maybe the first segment, but definitely the first hour, I will give you my entire prediction for this LSU baseball team. I'll give you a record for the season. I'll give you a conference record. I will give you an outcome for the season coming up tomorrow. I think we'll hear from Jay Johnson tomorrow. Maybe give us a lineup, maybe give us a rotation for the weekend, and we can chew on that a little bit as well as we get closer to opening night. If you missed any of today's show, you can always catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com's on-demand tab, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the places where you get your audio or your video. In YouTube's case, you can find The Hunt Palmer Show. We appreciate if you like, subscribe, rate, review. All the subscriptions, we appreciate. They just get us in the likes, get us in front of some more people, and we appreciate y'all helping our content grow organically. We opened the show talking LSU and Georgia. I gave my thoughts on the Tigers' loss last night in Stegman Coliseum. Some good, some really not good. Dove deep into that. Had some fun with the baseball lineup at 1:15, talking about what they can do against right-handed pitchers, what they can do against left-handed pitchers. The depth on this team is unbelievable, and I gave you a thought on that at 1:15. What if Wednesday? It's at 1:30. We try to do that every Wednesday. Just throw a random conglomeration of what ifs against the wall. Neyland Stadium's going to serve beer this weekend. This season. They were thinking about not doing that. I talked about it. SEC Hoops recap. Notre Dame doing things on the cheap. And Chris Demui, former Tiger left-hander, talking some baseball. Always enjoy our conversations with Demui. And then we finished up with Take It or Leave It. Jimmy Ott's Game Time. About to come at you from 6 to 8 this evening. Matt Moscona is going to drive you home from 3 to 6. Hope you have a wonderful Wednesday evening. We're back same time, same place tomorrow. It's 1 to 3 weekdays on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.